A team's progress is what brings money to the club. Apart from TV rights and prize money, a successful club grows in price as good results help it attract more fans. It's not easy to achieve success in modern football though, as there must be the right strategy and a well-organized system. So today Goal24 is telling you about 10 teams whose market value increased the most throughout the 21-22 season. Before we go on, here's our question for you. Which of these clubs earned the most money on transfer departures last summer? Borussia Dortmund, Chelsea, Inter, Aston Villa. Write your answers in the comments and we get started. Aston Villa, 406,800,000 before, 454,400,000 now. Difference 46,600,000 euros. After a bad start of the season, changes had to be made at Aston Villa. Dean Smith was sacked and Steven Gerrard, a Liverpool legend, took over. The one who managed to dethrone Celtic and win the first league title in 10 years for Rangers. With the new manager came the results, and then in winter new players were signed to strengthen the squad. Luca Dean and Felipe Coutinho. These two signings didn't really make up for the poor start, but still were something to build on. Even though Villa finished 14th, some players did make some notable progress, like Jacob Ramsey, the midfielder who grew into a first 11 player, scored 6 goals and got noticed by big clubs. His market value grew by 20 million euros. So now Aston Villa has a squad capable of qualifying for Europe. The likes of Martinez, Watkins, Cash, Dean, Coutinho, McGinn and other players might be good enough to play for a big club. The summer signings, Boubacar Kamara and Diego Carlos, show us that the club means business and the board spares no expense in order to make Steven Gerrard's side competitive. Now Stevie got himself a solid squad and the pre-season, so that the players have time to adjust to each other, so the expectations are going to be high. Dear friends, we need your support to grow our channel. All you need to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Thank you very much. Leeds, 250,800,000 then, 300 million now. Difference 50,200,000 euros. It wasn't the best of the seasons for Leeds United. The club was fighting against relegation and managed to stay up thanks to winning against Brentford and Burnley losing to Newcastle on the final match day. Parting ways with Marcelo Bielsa, the one who brought the team back to the Premier League after 16 years out of top-flight football, did hurt as well. But despite all the troubles Leeds had to face, their market value grew by 50 million because of some players' progress and the summer signings. Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, these two grew in price by 25 million euros. If Leeds had gone down, it would have dropped, but the club managed to avoid relegation and its market value increased as some other players did make progress too, like Gelhardt and Harrison. Jesse Marsch, the new manager, has already determined the factor of the club's development. The American has already brought 3 of his former players to Leeds: Rasmus Christensen, Brendan Aronson and Tyler Adams. The money gained from Rafinha and Phillips was spent on their replacements. Mark Roca, the midfielder, was signed from Bayern, and Luis Sinisterra, the winger, from Feyenoord. We'll see if that's going to be enough for Jesse Marsch to show something special in his first full season in charge of Leeds. Newcastle, 242,900,000 then, 296,700,000 now. Difference 53,800,000. It looked like the Magpies were going down at the start of the season, but the generous new owners, as well as the new manager, did help the club. Steve Bruce was sacked and Eddie Howe took over and managed to save the team from relegation. With the help of winter signings, Trippier, Guimaraes, Target, Byrne and Wood, the Englishman's team found their football in no time and finished 11th, which was the best result since 2018, when Newcastle finished 10th. Eddie Howe's side was good enough to break the club record, the biggest ever no-lose streak at home. It lasted for 7 home games and ended only in late April against Liverpool. The previous record was 6 home games without a loss, and it dates back to the early 2000s, so taking into consideration the awful start of the season under Steve Bruce, we can't help but praise Eddie Howe for his outstanding work at Newcastle. And next season, Newcastle is going to be even stronger. Nick Pope, the keeper, was signed from Burnley. Steve Botman came from Lille as Newcastle snatched him from Milan. And more will come, it seems, as the Saudi owners are determined to keep spending money on world-class players, so it's just a matter of time for Newcastle to become a really big club, able to compete with the best English teams. The only question is how long is it going to take? Rennes, 189,650,000 then, 248,750,000 now, 59,100,000 difference. Rennes played in the Champions League not so long ago, in the 2021 season, but after a bad spell of results, Julien Stéphan was sacked and Bruno Genesio, ex-Lyon, took his place. In his first season he managed to revive the team and fight for a top 3 finish until the very end. Unfortunately, they needed 3 more points to qualify for the Champions League, but nevertheless the Europa League is still a pretty decent result for such a modest team. There's a number of reasons for the team's market value growth. First, Martin Terrier, the winger who came from Lyon, had an incredible season with 21 goals in Ligue 1. Other attackers, among them Bourigeaud, Guirassy and Laporte, were prolific as well. These 3 scored 32 league goals combined. And not to forget about young talents, Doku, Souleymana, Pader, Lovro Meyer and many others. There also used to be a talented defender, Naïef Aguirre. He was sold to West Ham for 35 million euros, so Rennes' market value could have been even higher if the Moroccan had stayed. Brighton, 248,100,000 then, 325,400,000 now. Difference 77,300,000 euros. Graham Potter took over Brighton in 2019 and turned the Seagulls into a very decent mid-table team. In the 2021 season, the team had the worst conversion rate in the Premier League and had to fight against relegation. But in the following season, it got way better. The attackers became more clinical and the team made a step forward. Despite not having the best of squad, Potter managed to instill high-pressing attacking football in Brighton and made them a threat to every big club, apart from Man City. There were 2 heavy defeats against City, but at the same time Brighton won points against Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham and Man United, and the Red Devils got beaten 4-0. As a result, Graham Potter's side finished 9th, which is the best ever Premier League result for the club. Potter, one of the most promising managers in the league, got recognition at last. After the national team failed in the League of Nations, their fans were disappointed with Gareth Southgate and made a poll in Twitter for a New England manager. And Graham was the winner. Anyway, speaking of the reasons for Brighton's progress, we should also name some of the players. First of all, Marc Cucurella. After only 1 season in the Premier League, he's worth 60 million, and Man City is now eager to sign the Spaniard. Not to forget such players as Tariq Lamptey, Alexis McAllister, Robert Sanchez and of course Yves Bissouma, who has just moved to Tottenham for 29,200,000 euros. AC Milan, 466,900,000 then, 546,550,000 now. Difference 80,550,000 euros. A year after the Rossoneri are back in the Champions League, they finally managed to win the 21-22 Serie A, never considered favorites, as 2 of their leaders, Donnarumma and Çalhanoğlu, left the club. Stefano Pioli's side did win the title against all odds after a heated title race against Inter and Napoli. This league title was the first in 11 years, and the money spent on new signings is what makes this achievement even more special. Last summer, Milan spent only 78,700,000 euros on new players, and 35,700,000 were spent on buying out Sandro Tonali and Fikayo Tomori, who were previously on loan, while Maignan and Giroud, both key players from Milan, cost as little as 15,400,000 euros combined. We should not forget about the other players' progress, as those who have been at the club for long also managed to impress. Rafael Leao, the Portuguese, was boasting Serie A, scored 11 goals and made 8 assists, so his market value went to the moon. All in all, Leao, Tonali, Tomori, Maignan and Hernandez boosted their overall value by 105 million euros, which is a good indicator of how good the season was for AC Milan. However, things aren't going great as far as new signings are concerned, as Milan have already failed to buy two players from Lille, Sven Botman and Renato Sanchez, who was meant to replace Franck Kessié. As for now, Hakim Ziyech from Chelsea seems to be the only transfer option for Milan, while Inter has already bought a number of new faces to the club, which makes us think that it's going to be tough for the Rossoneri to repeat their success next season. Villarreal, 298,900,000 then, 387 million now. Difference 88,100,000 euros. The Europa League triumph in Unai Emery's first season in charge was surely a good sign for Villarreal. But even though few could expect such an impressive Champions League campaign a year later, Villarreal matched the club record and reached the Champions League semi-final, where they lost to Liverpool as they went through Juventus and Bayern in the knockout stage. At the same time, however, it wasn't the best of seasons in Spain for Villarreal. Unai Emery's side finished 7th, which means they'll be playing in the Conference League next season. This progress has a lot to do with some specific players. Just think of Arnaud Danjuma, whose 16 goals and 4 assists in all competitions made his market value increase by 35 million euros. Such players as Juan Estupiñán, Jeremy Pino and Manu Trigueros also grew in price by 38 million combined, so their performance didn't go unnoticed too. However, Villarreal is among the oldest teams in Europe, so Unai Emery's team does need serious refreshment in this summer transfer window in order to stay competitive and keep going. Bayern, 355,250,000 then, 446,530,000 now. Difference 91,280,000. After a couple of fairly poor results, Bayer Leverkusen managed to qualify for the Champions League for the first time since 2019. Gerardo Seoane is the man after this success. The manager who took over last summer and made the team's attack shine. And when we say attack, we think of Patrick Schick first of all. The Czech striker won the Euro Golden Boot along with Ronaldo, and after that suddenly became a goal-scoring machine and scored 24 goals in the Bundesliga. The best result in Patrick's career so far. At last, he showed his true quality. Apart from Schick, two wonder kids, Moussa Diaby and Florian Wirtz, got their share of recognition. Wirtz scored 7 goals and made 10 assists in 24 league games and caught the eye of Real Madrid. It could have been even more if it were not for the injury he suffered, but he may still improve a lot at Bayern. As for Diaby, the Frenchman had the best season so far too, with 13 goals and 12 assists in the Bundesliga. PSG is now willing to bring him back to the club, while Bayern is determined to keep him at the club. So all in all, Diaby, Wirtz and Schick grew in price by 69 million combined. Another promising youngster, Adam Hložek, has recently joined the club, and should he adapt quickly and start scoring, Bayer Leverkusen may keep growing in price next season as well. Brentford, 167,850,000 then, 267,150,000 now. Difference 99,300,000 euros. Thomas Frank's team is in this list for a good reason, as we can't help but give credit to the club's management and scouting system that picks players based on their statistics. Because of that, Brentford won 2 promotions in 8 years and completed the journey to the Premier League that started in League One. The 21-22 Premier League campaign was the first ever for Brentford in the top flight football. They didn't have the best of starts, but braced themselves eventually, and their form late in the season let them finish 13th and also win points against such teams as Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea. The Blues even had to suffer a devastating home defeat, 4-1. Speaking of the team leaders, these are Brian Buemo, David Raya, the goalkeeper, Rico Henry in defense, and Ivan Toney, who scored 12 goals and made 5 assists in the Premier League. And not to forget Christian Eriksen, of course. The Danish midfielder joined the team in winter as he signed a short-term contract until the end of the season. And when he played, Brentford lost only 2 games out of last 10. After a decent season, Christian caught the eye of Man United and is about to leave Brentford for a bigger club. Arsenal 548,500,000 then, 666,200,000 now, difference 117,700,000. After a disastrous start of the season, 3 defeats, 8-0 in total, the Gunners were deep into the relegation zone, so Mikel Arteta getting sacked seemed just a matter of time. The fans were furious with the Spaniard and wanted him out. It looked as if Mikel had nothing left to give, but the board decided to have some patience and show their trust with 2 signings, Tomiyasu and Ramsdale. And it did pay off, as after some time Arsenal started showing decent football and in a blink of an eye reached 4th place. Their newfound consistency allowed the Gunners to keep going and be competitive against any opponent. For a long time, Arsenal was tipped to be the 4th team to qualify for the Champions League. It would have been their first time since the 2016-17 season. Arsenal needed 2 wins against Newcastle and Everton to make it happen, but they lost to the Magpies away and Tottenham took their place in the top 4. Even though the Champions League spot was snatched from the Gunners by their arch-rivals, their progress didn't go unnoticed. Speaking of individuals, we should name Saka, Odegaard, Smith-Rowe, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, and even Mohamed El-Neni, who was long considered finished but still managed to prove his worth and get rewarded with a new contract. The newcomers, Gabriel Jesus and Fabio Vieira, are meant to strengthen the Gunners squad, but the transfer campaign is far from over. More new faces will come and maybe help Arsenal get back into the Champions League at last. There may be many reasons for a team's progress: transfer signings, team discipline, or atmosphere. It may be hard to achieve goals in modern football, but building on success and staying on top is even harder. Dear friends, which one of these teams impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments please. Thanks for watching and see you soon.